Long ago, in a rich and beautiful kingdom, there lived a king and queen who had only one child, a daughter named Princess Anna. Anna was the most precious treasure of the palace. She had soft, golden skin, long dark hair, and a face so lovely that everyone who saw her was filled with wonder. But Anna had been blind since birth. She had never seen the bright morning sun, the flowers in the royal garden, or even the faces of her own parents. This broke the queen's heart. Every day she watched her daughter struggle through life, and no matter how much wealth or power the royal family had, they could not give Anna the one thing she needed most, her sight. But Anna was not a quiet or delicate princess. She was full of life. She was curious, restless, and always moving. As a child, and even as she grew older, she could never stay in one place for long. She would walk through the palace corridors, climb staircases, run toward sounds she liked, and touch everything around her, trying to understand the world she could not see. Because of this, the palace maids were always around her. They held her hands, guided her steps, and tried to protect her from danger. But Anna was fast and impulsive. Many times when a maid looked away for just a moment, Anna would stand up on her own, take a few eager steps, and bump into a table, a pillar, or even fall down the stairs. The palace servants loved her deeply, but caring for her was never easy. The queen watched all this with pain in her heart. She could not bear to see her daughter bruised, frightened, and trapped in darkness. So she decided to search for something magical, something that could truly help Anna. And soon, sorcerers, healers, and wandering magicians from faraway lands began to arrive at the palace. One old sorcerer gave the queen a magic walking stick. He said that whenever Anna came near a wall, a chair, or a staircase, the stick would gently guide her away from danger. And it worked. Another sorcerer brought a special ring that could calm Anna's restless mind, so she would not wander endlessly through the palace halls. That worked too. But the queen was still unhappy. These magical things helped Anna live more safely, but they did not truly change her life. And so the queen's sadness only grew deeper. Then one evening, something unexpected happened. Just as the sun was setting and the palace walls glowed red in the evening light, a man came running out of the forest. He looked terrified. His clothes were torn, his face was dirty, and he was clutching a golden cage tightly in his arms. Inside the cage was a beautiful white bird. Its feathers shone like moonlight, and its eyes were bright and intelligent, almost human. The man ran straight toward the palace, and before anyone could stop him, he leapt over the outer wall and fell into the royal courtyard. The palace guards quickly surrounded him, captured him, and dragged him before the queen. The queen looked at the stranger coldly and said, "Throw him into the dungeon." But the man fell to his knees and begged for mercy. "Please, Your Majesty," he cried, "before you punish me, look at this bird. It can help your daughter." The queen narrowed her eyes. She stepped closer and looked at the cage. The white bird sat silently inside, calm and graceful. "How can a bird help my daughter?" the queen asked. The man lowered his head and said, "This is no ordinary bird. If you let it stay with the princess, it will guide her, protect her, and keep her from harm. Please, take it." The queen was suspicious, but she was also desperate. And so, after a long moment, she accepted the cage. The man was set free, and the white bird was brought to Princess Anna. The moment the cage door was opened, the white bird flew out. But instead of escaping through the open palace windows, It landed gently on Anna's shoulder. Anna smiled at once. She reached up carefully and touched its feathers. The bird rubbed its tiny head against her cheek, and for the first time in many days, Anna laughed with pure delight. From that moment on, the bird never left her. It followed her everywhere. If Anna walked through the palace, the bird chirped softly whenever she neared a wall or staircase. If she reached for a cup or plate in the wrong direction, the bird tapped her hand and guided her. If she wandered through the evening garden, the bird fluttered around her, leading her safely along the paths. Soon, everything changed. Anna no longer fell as often. She no longer crashed into furniture every day. She could move more freely than ever before. The palace servants were amazed. But more importantly, Anna was no longer alone. The white bird became her closest companion. She spoke to it as if it were a dear friend. She told it what she wished she could see. She told it how much she wanted to walk through the forest and hear the river up close. She told it how trapped she felt inside the palace walls. And the bird listened quietly, always staying close. As the months passed, Anna and the white bird became inseparable, and one dream grew stronger in Anna's heart than any other. She wanted to leave the palace. She wanted to walk beneath real trees, touch wild flowers, stand by a river, feel the wind in a place where no one was watching her every step. But every time she asked the queen for permission, the answer was the same: no. The queen was too afraid. And so Anna remained in the palace, dreaming of a world she had never touched, until the day she finally found her chance.
One day, urgent matters called the queen to a nearby kingdom. She had no choice but to leave the palace for several days. The moment Anna heard this, her heart raced. This was her chance. So, with the white bird on her shoulder, she quietly slipped out of the palace and followed the path into the forest. The moment she stepped beneath the trees, she felt alive. The air was cooler there. The wind smelled of leaves, moss, and fresh water. Birdsong filled the branches overhead. Anna smiled and stretched out her hands, touching tree trunks, ferns, and soft wild grass. She spent the whole day wandering through the forest, guided by the white bird, listening to the sounds of nature with wonder and joy. It was the happiest day of her life. But as evening fell and the forest grew darker, danger came. The sound of horses suddenly thundered through the trees. Men on horseback surrounded Anna before she could escape. The white bird cried out in alarm, and then their leader stepped forward. He was young and handsome, dressed in rich, dark clothes, with a proud smile on his face. But his eyes were cruel. He dismounted slowly and stood before Anna, looking at her with interest. "So," he said, lifting her chin, "you must be Princess Anna." Anna trembled. The prince smiled coldly. "You are even more beautiful than the stories say." Then his gaze shifted to the white bird. "And that bird," he said softly, "I want it." Anna stepped back. The prince's smile widened. "You have two choices, my princess," he said. "Come with me and become my bride, or give me the bird." Anna's face turned pale. "No," she whispered. At once the white bird panicked and flew into the air, escaping into the darkening forest before the soldiers could catch it. The prince's expression changed instantly. "Take the girl," he ordered. The soldiers grabbed Anna. She cried out, struggling in fear, and just when it seemed no one could save her, a voice cut through the darkness. "Let her go." A man stepped out of the shadows of the forest. He was tall, strong, and dressed in simple clothes worn by years of life in the wild. His dark hair fell over his forehead, and his eyes were sharp and fearless. This was Niv. He lived alone in the forest, far away from palaces, crowns, and royal life. The cruel prince laughed when he saw him. "And who are you to command me?" he asked. Niv said nothing. In the next instant, he attacked. He moved like a storm. He struck one soldier, then another. He dodged swords, threw men to the ground, and fought with a fierceness that caught everyone by surprise. In the middle of the chaos, he reached Anna, took her hand, and pulled her behind him. "Run," he said. Anna held on to him tightly. Together, they fled into the dark forest while the prince's men chased after them. But Niv knew the forest better than anyone. He led Anna through hidden paths, over roots and stones, deeper into the woods, until at last the prince's soldiers lost their way. By the time the moon rose high above the trees, Anna and Niv were safe. Niv brought her to his home, a quiet cave hidden near a river deep in the forest. It was simple, but warm. A fire glowed softly in one corner. Bundles of herbs hung from the walls. Clay bowls and wooden shelves lined the cave, and outside, the sound of the river flowed like a lullaby through the night. Anna sat down, still trembling from fear. Then she turned toward Niv and whispered, "Thank you for saving me." Niv looked at her blind eyes and felt a deep sadness in his chest. He had saved a stranger. He did not know that she was about to change his life forever.
Anna could not return to the palace right away. The cruel prince's men were still searching the roads and forest paths, so Niv told her she must stay hidden for a while. At first, Anna felt nervous. She was alone in a strange place with a man she barely knew. But Niv was kind, very kind. He cooked for her. He guided her through the cave and the nearby forest paths. He described the world around her in a way no one ever had before. He told her how the river shone silver in the morning light, how the trees turned gold when evening came, how tiny blue flowers bloomed beside the rocks near the cave. He placed leaves, feathers, and flower petals in her hands so she could feel the beauty of the forest for herself. With Niv, Anna felt free. No one treated her like a burden. No one watched her with pity. No one tried to lock her inside walls. Days passed, then weeks. Anna learned to sit beside the river and listen to the current. She learned the songs of birds. She learned the smell of rain before it fell. And slowly, quietly, she began to fall in love. She fell in love with Niv's gentle voice, with the way he cared for every injured bird or frightened animal he found, with the way he always spoke to her with patience, never making her feel weak. And Niv began to love her too. Her laughter filled the lonely silence of his cave. Her courage amazed him. Her warmth changed something inside him that had long been asleep. One day, Niv prepared a special medicine from herbs and healing plants. "What is it?" Anna asked. "A treatment for your eyes," Niv said quietly. Anna's heart trembled. "Can it really help me?" "I don't know," he admitted, "but I want to try." Every day after that, Niv carefully treated her eyes with medicine from forest herbs. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and then one morning, Anna woke up and saw light. At first, it was only brightness, then shapes, then colors, and finally, the world, the cave, the fire, the morning sunlight, and Niv. "Niv," she whispered. He looked up. "I can see," Anna said, her voice shaking. "Niv, I can see." For a moment he could not move, then joy filled his face. He rushed to her side and led her outside. Anna saw the forest for the first time. The trees were greener than she had imagined. The river sparkled like silver. The sky stretched endlessly above her. Flowers glowed in shades she had never known existed. Anna cried and laughed at the same time. Then she turned to Niv. "I love you," she said softly. Niv took her hands in his. "And I love you," he answered. There, beneath the forest sky, they embraced, and for the first time in her life, she felt truly whole.
Back in the palace, the queen was drowning in grief. When she returned and discovered Anna had vanished into the forest, she sent soldiers in every direction to search for her. But no one could find the princess. At last, in desperation, the queen turned to the white bird. "Please," she whispered, tears in her eyes, "find my daughter, bring her home." The bird flew away at once. It searched through the forest, over rivers and hills, until finally it found Anna and Niv together. When Anna heard its wings, she smiled and held out her hand. The bird landed on her shoulder and seemed almost stunned to discover that she could now see. Then it gently urged her to return to the palace. And so Anna and Niv went back. When the queen saw her daughter again, alive and healed, she broke down in tears. She embraced Anna tightly and thanked Niv again and again for saving her. But then Anna confessed something else. She told her mother that she loved Niv and that she wanted to marry him. The queen's joy disappeared. "No," she said firmly. Anna stared at her. "No," she repeated. The queen shook her head. "You are a princess," she said. "He is a man from the forest. I am grateful to him, but I will not allow this marriage." Anna's heart shattered. Niv lowered his eyes. He had expected this. Without arguing, without anger, he quietly turned and left the palace. Anna watched him go, tears filling her eyes. She had finally found love, and now she was losing it. Days passed in sadness. Anna stayed alone in her room, missing Niv with every breath. Then, one evening, disaster struck once more. A group of armed men secretly entered the palace. They were searching for the white bird. When they failed to catch it, they kidnapped Anna instead. Before leaving, they delivered a message to the queen. It was from the cruel prince. "If you want your daughter back, bring me the white bird." The queen was horrified, and at that very moment the white bird returned to the palace with Niv beside it. The moment Niv heard what had happened, his face changed. He did not hesitate. He would rescue Anna. This time, the queen did not stop him. Her pride had already cost too much. She told him everything, and together with the white bird, Niv set out for the cruel prince's kingdom. The prince's palace was unlike any normal royal home. It was dark, cold, and full of strange shadows. The walls were lined with symbols that looked like black magic. The air felt heavy and unnatural. And in the center of the great hall stood a giant black mirror. Inside the mirror, shadows moved like living smoke. Anna was there, weak and frightened, chained beside it. The cruel prince stood nearby, smiling as Niv entered the hall carrying the caged white bird. "I brought the bird," Niv said. "Release Anna." The prince laughed and took the cage. Then he looked at Niv with a strange hunger in his eyes. "You know," he said softly, "you have a perfect body. Why don't you give that to me as well?"
Niv's heart turned cold. Now he understood. This prince was no ordinary man. Something dark lived inside him, something twisted and unnatural. But Niv kept his face calm. He slowly walked toward the prince as if he were surrendering. Anna looked at him in fear, tears in her eyes. The prince smiled, believing he had won. And then, in one sudden movement, Niv shoved him with all his strength. The prince stumbled backward and fell straight into the black mirror. The mirror trembled violently. Dark shadows exploded inside it. The prince screamed, and in the next moment, his handsome human form vanished. In his place was a wicked black bird. At the same time, the white bird burst from its cage in a brilliant flash of silver light. The whole hall filled with magic. When the light faded, the white bird was gone. Standing there instead was a handsome young prince dressed in white and silver. He looked at Anna and Niv with gratitude. Then he told them the truth. Long ago, he had been the real prince of that kingdom, but the wicked blackbird had cursed him, trapped him in the form of a white bird, and stolen his appearance, his throne, and his life. Only by forcing the false prince back into the black mirror of dark magic could the curse be broken. At last, the truth had been revealed. The real prince captured the wicked blackbird inside the golden cage. Now the evil creature could never escape again.
Anna and Niv returned safely to the palace with the true prince. When the queen heard the full story, her heart filled with shame and gratitude. She had judged Niv by his simple life and humble clothes, but now she understood the truth. He had risked everything for Anna. He had healed her, saved her, loved her. And so, at last, the queen gave them her blessing. Soon after, the kingdom held a grand wedding. Princess Anna wore a gown that shone like morning light. Niv stood beside her, strong and gentle as ever. And the true prince, finally free from his curse, stood smiling as one of their dearest friends. There was music, flowers, laughter, and joy throughout the kingdom. And as Anna looked out at the world she could finally see with her own eyes, she knew her life had changed forever. Once she had lived in darkness. Once she had been trapped inside palace walls. But now she had found sight. She had found freedom, and she had found love. And from that day on, the story of the blind princess, the white bird, and the forest man who saved her heart was told across kingdoms for generations. Because sometimes the greatest miracle is not magic. Sometimes it is love that teaches us how to see.